All right, welcome to the Moodle video on section 1.4 about functions. We're just going to go through this pretty quickly because I think you guys have seen this before. So a few definitions first before we start about what a relation is. A relation is just a pairing of two things. Of two elements. Usually in math we pair x's and y's, so that's what the idea is, but I guess it really could be anything. Down here I have an example of a relation where I'm just going to take something from the first category, which is the names of the people in my family. Which is the names of the people in my family, Josh, Kelly, and then my sons, Josiah and Paul. And then the second column is their birth months, or just the months of the year. And so a relation would be a pairing of two things. So right here you have an example of a relation. Well, a function is a specific type of relation. So a function is a relation, so a pairing. If I could write, a relation where choosing an x results in only one y. In only one y. So let's look for a second and talk about this relation and see if this is a function or not. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going to go to my x column and I'm going to make a choice. And I'll choose myself. I guess I'm selfish. I'll choose myself Josh. So if I choose Josh, this is an example of mapping what we're talking about right here. If I choose Josh, how many in the second column can be matched up with Josh? Well, I was born in August, and as far as I know, that's the only month I was ever born in, was August. So choosing an x results in exactly one y. Now let's go to Kelly, my wife. If I choose Kelly, right there, I choose Kelly, and when I do that, that results in exactly one y, which is January. And what happens is as I go through, I'm going to choose Josiah, and that results in March, and I'm going to choose Paul, and that results in July. So no matter what happens, if I choose an x, it results in one y. So that is an example of a function. Well, here's a question for you. My father-in-law comes along. So his name is Mike, and he comes, and he is also born in January. So now when I choose Mike, it might be a little bit tough to see, but here's what I have. I choose Kelly, and Kelly goes to January. I choose Mike, and he goes to January. And the question I have for you is this still a function? Think about that. Well, remember, we're only talking about left to right. So if I choose Kelly, make a choice, results in 1. If I choose Mike, just choose 1, results in 1. So yes, it's still a function, because if I choose 1 from the first column, then I get 1. Choose 1, get 1 is what we're going to think about for a function. Well, verbally, we always say the second variable, the y, is a function of the first. So verbally, I would say this, that y is a function of x. Of x. The second variable is a function of the first variable. Well, let's think about it the other way around. How about if I switch the variables around? Now let's look at this column and let's make a choice and see how many I get. Well, if I choose March, I only get one pair, which is Josiah. So far it's a function. But now when I get to January, I make a choice. I choose January, get Kelly, and I choose January, get Mike. Ooh, that's not a function. I made a choice, got a result, made the very same choice, got a different result, not a function. Well, let's take a look down at the number world, at math, and look at it through ordered pairs. Each one has an x and a y, so it's got a choice and a result. So here it says that I chose 1, and the result was 4. So I made a choice, 1, and I got 4, and that's all I got. You never see 1 being paired with another number. I made a choice of 2, and I get 5. I made a choice of 3, and I get 6, 4, I get 7. What you never see is me making a choice, having it go to one number, make the same choice, and have it go to a different number, so this one is function. Based on this idea, see if you can pause the video and see if you can see if the next one is a function or not. Hopefully you can say that it's not, because when I made a choice of -3, I got 9. But hold on, I made that very same choice of -3 again, and I got 8. So my answer is no, this is not a function. And if I asked you why, you would say because -3 is paired with 9, and -3 is also paired with 8. Well, here's the basic idea, guys, is that if I have an x, I only get one y. Well, let's think about this now. If we're talking about an equation, I'm just going to ask you, is this a function right here? Well, I guess many of you could probably go to your calculator and figure it out. But here's what we're going to do. Let's solve for y and see what happens. Well, when I solve for y, I'm going to go minus x squared and minus x squared. So I get y equals -x squared plus 1. And you're like, well, I don't know if that still helps me very much. Is that a function or is it not? Well, watch what happens when you pick an x. If I plug in the number 1, 1 squared is 1, minus 1 is -1, plus 1 is 0. So when I plug in a number, I only get one number out. And that's going to be true for every x that you pick. Now, so this would be an example where, yes, this is a function. Now let's go over here and take a look at this one. Once again, let's solve for y. So first I'm going to add x and add x like so. So I get y squared equals x plus 1. Okay. Now to solve, I'm going to square root and square root, but remember what happens when you square root a square. I get y on this side, but I also get positive and negative on this side, plus 1 like that. So watch what happens. I can plug in, let's pick a number 3, which should be an easy one. If I plug in 3, 3 plus 1 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2, but this says I get positive and -2. So when I plug in 3, I get 2, but when I plug in 3, I get -2. So I plugged in an x, I got 2 different y's, so this is an example of no, not a function. Well, hopefully you remember a good old test for this, guys. We called this the vertical line test back in the day. And the vertical line test said just draw a vertical line anywhere you want. So I'll just draw a vertical line. Basically, I kind of missed a little bit, but I'm choosing an x value of 4 right here. And if you look at it, 4 gets paired with 2, but 4 gets paired with -2. So this is an example of no. In general, what we said, draw a vertical line. If you get one intersection, it's a function. Any more than that, and it's not.